Ringmaster Sal, live from the AMP.TV movie studios here in fabulous Las Vegas. That's AAMP.TV. Today's show is brought to you by Legal Shield, providing legal protection and peace of mind. Legal Shield can help with traffic tickets, texting and driving, DUIs, court appearances, estate planning, even contracts given to people they don't understand, plus a whole lot more. For more information, contact Legal Shield at 213-245-1305. That's 213-245-1305. Or visit them online for more information at nocourt.us. That's nocourt.us. And a big welcome into everybody listening in on Magic 97.9 FM right here in Las Vegas, Talk 1490 WIRB in Southern Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, and all of our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, those watching on Hotel TV, and also streaming at thesportscircus.com. Welcome in to our two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior, always looking sharp. There he is. There's Tyrone Poole. Tyrone, thanks for joining us again today.
Hey, Sal, good to be on another show, another week. Can you believe how fast the week has gone by? It's already Thursday again, man. It's going to be the weekend, Friday, Saturday. It's just so exciting just to have another episode to talk to the viewers and all those listening in to impart information.
You know, Tyrone, you've been with us for quite a while now. How many months do you think you've been with us so far?
You know what? I lose track. When you're having fun, you don't count the days. It's like they say, when you love what you're doing, it's not work. So I don't count the days. I don't count the hours. I just can't wait till the next opportunity.
He says I lose track. Tell that to the IRS.
I know, right? The IRS, they always keep in count. Yes, sir.
Tyrone, we have a very special guest with us today. In fact, let's let him introduce himself. Go ahead, young man.
Hello, I'm George Lynch, former NBA player, played 12 years, college basketball coach, and now I'm just at home doing homeschooling, add teacher to my resume.
Excellent.
Oh, man.
And that includes, this guy, by the way, folks, that includes George is also a national champion with those Tar Heels too.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
this guy's being modest, man.
Come on, look at it's the Duke guy that's going to give you the props. Come on, man.
I appreciate it.
Hey, you know, this show is all about champions. It's all about champions, right? George, not only in 93 winning the championship in college, man, but he also went to the NBA finals, man. Correct me if I'm wrong, but, man, that's champions, and nothing but champions come on this show, baby. I'm like, 12 years in the NBA? I'm like, come on now. George is a modest guy anyway. He's a modest guy, but, man, I'm telling you, this guy, he walks softly, but he carries a big, big stick. A lot of people know about George Lynch, baby. I know that much.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Well, listen, if you played 12 years in the league like Tyrone, 12 years in the league as well, it takes a lot of staying power, it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of real mental preparation, I would imagine, as well.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I was traded 3 times, played for, you know, the Hornets, played for 4 different teams. So each opportunity was a new trial of tribulations. So you have to adjust at each.
Hey, so let me ask you a question. I got to ask you a quick question. All right, so in 2002 to 2005 with Charlotte, now was Mike running things over there at that time?
No, he wasn't there. But you know, that was the last year. It was in Charlotte, and then we went to New Orleans, and then that's when the storm hit New Orleans, and the team moved to Oklahoma.
Oh, that's right. It was actually 2001 and 2 in Charlotte. Then it was then moving over to New Orleans. Yeah, I just wanted to find out if you had seen, or if you had actually had to played for him, right? Being a fellow Tar Heel, and I just wanted to find out what your experience was.
No, but, you know, I've had an opportunity. He came back to Chapel Hill. It's a great story. You know, everybody's watching The Last Dance, and talking about how competitive he is. My freshman year, the end of my freshman year, the sophomore year, the pros come back to Carolina to play pickup. Mike came back. This was 91, 92. 90, 91. And my college roommate was a freshman. He was playing behind King Rice. King Rice played about 30 minutes a game, so he was playing maybe 10 minutes a game. And so Jordan's new shoes came out. And my roommate ran to the mall and bought a pair. He picked up the first pair fresh out of the box and thought he was going to play pickup in them. Mike came onto the floor, saw him wearing the shoes, and told him he don't get enough minutes. Go take the shoes off. And look, didn't let him play until he So, back in the day, them shoes like 140, 150, they were top dollar. And he wouldn't let him play in them. He said, "You're not good enough to play in my shoes."
Oh, man. Wow. Man, now I'm looking at this Last Dance and I'm hearing the stories on television, but man, George, I'm like, you being North Carolina Tar Heel, of course, with Mike Wentz, like you say, you saw him a lot. And just that story right there, in my mind, just confirms everything that I'm looking at on television, that Mike, his mentality, if you're not good enough, man, hey, I don't care if you bought the shoes. They're my shoes, you can't wear them. I'm like, that's wild.
So got another story. So the rules are when you play pickup, it's the college guys, the current players against the pros. So you had, my freshman year, there was like J.R. Reed, Sam Perkins, Brad Daugherty, Michael Jordan. All those guys came back. So Michael came back, but when Michael comes back, he likes to play with walk-ons, guys who play on the JV team, guys who don't get any playing time. They call them the blue team. So my team was King Rice, Rick Fox, Hubert Davis, and Pete Chilcutt. We were the 5 starters. We played that first game, and, Mike was just loosening up. We beat him. So the rule is if you beat the pros, they owe you dinner. Mike never paid us for dinner. This is 30 years later. I'm still waiting on my dinner for that game.
Well, we hoping he watching this show. And Mike, you got to pay up, man. You owe George. Exactly. You owe those guys you lost to. Time to pay up, Mike.
I won't order an expensive bottle of wine, just a good steak and potatoes, man.
Exactly. And we tacking interest onto it, so it don't add it up to about 10 dinners now. Oh, man, that's wild, man. Wow. Any more stories? Any more Tar Heel stories? I know you guys got a lot of athletes, man. Basketball.
Yes, no more Mike stories. He was as competitive on the floor with college guys as he was with the stories that they about to tell with Steve Kerr and all them guys in practice. He brought it every day, and like Coach Wim said, he never turned it off.
So let me ask you a question about that. All right, now with Dean Smith and Roy Williams, look, there's an incredible pedigree from a coaching side. Now, how do you look at the other Hall of Fame coaches that are out there? Who is it that you didn't want to play against? Because you knew that they were going to be difficult, but also who are the ones that you love to play against because you could whoop them anytime?
Well, first, of course, playing against Duke in the college days was always that big rivalry. And anytime, you could go down there and get a win, which was not much. But I think I came out my 4 years, one up on that, one win up on that rivalry. But of course, Coach K did a marvelous job down there at Cameron, turning that program around. And then, when you get to the NBA level, it was always a rivalry. I think when I was with the Sixers, the Pacers was a big-time rivalry because they had Reggie Miller. They were making that run. It took us 3 years to get over that hump. And then Vince Carter in Toronto was a big rivalry. But it was always fun to go into Madison Square Garden, play in New York, in the Mecca.
Must have been a great experience. All right, Tyrone, we got about 30 seconds. Go ahead and finish up and take us to break.
You know what? For everyone watching from AMP TV to Hotel TV or the 650,000 viewers, we have a great superstar today. And we're going to finish up this conversation with the great George Lynch. So we're going to ask tons and tons of questions. But before we go to break real quick, George, I just got to ask you, you've been a great defensive guy real quick. Who was the toughest guy to guard? You know, of course, you offense, but, you know, you really made your name defensively playing defense. Who was that tough guy?
Tracy McGrady was the toughest guy for me to guard. He was about 6'9", 6'10", put the ball on the floor, use pick and roll, shoot the three, jump out of the gym. So he was my toughest matchup.
Oh, wow. Well, hey, guys, you heard it right here. Tracy McGrady jumping out the gym. That's what they do, Sal. So when we return, more with George, the great Lynch. First round draft pick with the Lakers, champion on the collegiate and pro level. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Sports Circus.
Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRUSTCO.com or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. This is Sal Tuzzolino, host and ringmaster of the Sports Circus. Why listen to the same old dog and pony show that you've heard all day long? The Sports Circus covers everything that other shows don't or are too scared to cover. There's no primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the mouth and you'll beg for more. You can call in and participate with our chaos if you dare. Join me and celebrity guests for Havoc and Mayhem weekdays at 5 p.m. Pacific here on AMP TV or stream the show live at thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus, so we prove it every day.
You're listening to the Sports Circus, and I'm Mike Golick.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from the AMP.TV mobile studios here in fabulous Las Vegas. That's AAMP.TV. This segment brought to you in part by Cali Vegas, helping people create and host their very own radio, TV, or multimedia talk shows right from their very own home studio. And these times, guess what? A lot of people are home, but you could be on television, you could be on radio, you can have your own streaming show. Guess what? Cali Vegas could do it for you, working in association with AMP TV, AAMP.TV. For more information, contact Cali Vegas at 949-445-1119. That's 949-445-1119. Again, 949-445-1119. Or visit them online for more information at calivegas.com. That's CALI Vegas.com. Back here with two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior, Tyrone Poole. There he is. Look at him go with those shiny trophies behind him.
There you go.
That's the guy. Everybody watching on Hotel TV. Right. Everybody on Hotel TV and watching or streaming on the sportscircus.com as well as AMP TV. Everybody can see that one. And by the way, Tyrone, we are here with a special guest, also a 12-year veteran in the NBA and an NCAA national champion from the University of North Carolina. That would be George Lynch. Welcome back, George.
Thanks for having me.
And a first rounder.
Yeah, first round draft pick. We'll give him a round of applause because we can. Hey, George, now I know you're in support of a couple of really good causes. Let's go ahead and get that out there real quick. Go ahead and tell us what you're telling about in between segments.
Since everybody's having this distance learning and everybody's trying to be, homeschool teachers like myself, there's a lot of students out there, student athletes and students K through 12, sent home without tech devices. So, my nonprofit, HBCU Heroes, is here to support the 100 HBCUs throughout the country to help student athletes that don't have the learning devices. There's about 1 in 3 students at a HBCU are home without a laptop or a computer. And, the same thing with minorities in the K through 12 space.
Right.
So HBCU Tech for COVID is the two profits that we partnered up together to make it an effort to serve these students.
HBCheroes.com, right?
HBCUheroes.com.
Oh, HBCU
Heroes. HBCheroes.org and Tech for COVID. .org.
HBCUheroes.org.
Yes.
All right.
Correct.
Just want to make sure we got it right. That's good stuff. And so we've got one of those HBCU guys with us, and that would be Tyrone Poole. Now, Tyrone, coming from Fort Valley State, rising up and taking charge, and 12 years in the league as well from the NFL. Talk to us about your experience as what George is saying as far as not having the resources, and how did you go about getting whatever resources you needed?
George and I had a conversation earlier today. We were talking and just reminiscing. Of course, George coached at Clark Atlanta University, CAU, which Fort Valley and Clark Atlanta are in the same conference, which is the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, the SIAC. And we're very familiar with each other's institutions, and the struggle is real. There are a lot of things that athletes at these small schools go without. I just remember myself being at Fort Valley, and it doesn't seem like the times have changed, but I remember at Fort Valley, I had to have one pair of gloves. I would just keep those one pair of gloves just as clean as I could for at least 2 or 3 weeks. The shoes, same way. Really didn't want to try to wear white shoes because it showed dirt very easily. So I was constantly wiping and cleaning my shoes off. So there are a lot of lacking in the HBCUs. But the great thing about it, we have resources. We have people who have prominent people that have graduated, whether it's corporate America or athletically, that have gone on. And what George is doing is great because he's bringing the awareness back to the HBCUs, those alumni that, hey, we need your help. And that's why we're doing as much as we can here on the Sports Circus to let everybody know from coast to coast. Those in California, there are HBCUs in California. Hey, we need your help. Join on hbcu.org and Tech for COVID. You know, hey, George, he's doing a great thing. I'm just so happy. What was your experience like in Clark, Atlanta?
Well, it was similar. You know, playing at North Carolina, you get a pair of shoes, you wear them for 2 weeks, you turn them in, you get a new pair. It was one pair of shoes for the whole year for the student athletes at Clark. So, you know, I was constantly trying to raise funds to support the men's basketball team. And it's not only just men's basketball; it's the entire, you know, athletic department. You know, they got football, basketball, women's volleyball, women's basketball, you know, softball, baseball, and those student athletes. I had 9 student athletes on my men's team this past year, with a 3.0 or higher, 2 had a 4.0. 6 of those 9 student athletes, when was forced into distance learning, had to go home without computers and the laptops. You know, because most of those students at HBCUs go to the campus, you know, for their Wi-Fi, for their computer labs to write their papers and do their research. So once they were sent home, you know, they were sent home without the necessary devices to complete their education.
Yeah. Hey, and you know, this is why I'm glad that the NCAA, this is one of the reasons why I'm glad that the NCAA is allowing athletes to make money. Because yes, everyone's looking at the Division Ones and saying, hey, they get paid, they get a full scholarship, all that stuff. But the small schools, the HBCUs, most of those athletes are getting partial scholarships, and then they have to take out some type of Pell Grant. So for those who argue that it's not good for the Division One, there are probably 10 times, 100 times the same people on the smaller school level saying, yes, we need to work, we need money. So from a standpoint of myself going to a HBCU, I'm like, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So George, I thank you for everything you're doing. And as much as I can help, you know, I'm there. We just had an event, and there's another event coming up this week. Isn't that, George? You guys got to have another event coming up?
Yes. So our first telethon was May 2nd and 3rd. It was a 24-hour telethon. We had Michael Strahan, Everson Walls, you know, former HBCU athletes come on and speak. We had Jeezy, Offset, you know, come on and support, because a lot of those artists, they start their careers at HBCUs. You know, they have concerts just to see how the fans and support them. We had other athletes, Antonio Harvey, who's a former Laker, played with the Portland Trailblazers, Eton Thomas, Charles Oakley. Guys came on and spoke and supported. So we're just looking to bring awareness, to get more support. We're going to finish the month of Sundays, the month out, with every Sunday from 3 to 7, having more support on the telethons to bring in more awareness and bring in more donation dollars.
Yeah. And where, again, can everyone who's listening, those in California, because like I said, I know that there's some HBCUs out there in California, and this show goes from coast to coast. What's the website, the information that they can go and donate for those who can't show up physically?
Yes, it's
yes, sir. Go ahead,
Tech for COVID Live. Tech for COVID Live, TECH, the number 4, COVID Live. You can go on and follow the stream. It will be on you know, Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud show. It will be streamed on Twitch, and you know, so you can follow us on Twitch. That's the best way to follow the telethon.
Oh man, that's good, man. That is excellent. And I want to cross the street for a minute here. You know, you've been a great basketball player, and I'm look at myself, I feel like I was a great professional football player. I want to ask you, I want to take you back to your childhood back in Roanoke, Virginia. Now, I can go back to LaGrange, Georgia, and tell people this is how the young Tyrone Poole did it. This is what I did to get to where I am. I want you to take us back and tell us, what did the young George Lynch back in Virginia, Roanoke, Virginia, what was he doing to prepare himself every day to play in the NBA?
I was looking for the competition. It was I tell my youngest, he hoops. He's 14 now, so I try to tell him the stories that we didn't wait for the games to come to us. He waits for AAU games. Everything is organized. We walked from neighborhood to neighborhood. It was about 5 of us trying to own the court. And if we were able to play 6 to 8 games in a row, it was well worth it. You know, back in the day, it looked like we was walking 10 to 12 miles. But now I think going back to the neighborhood, it might have been only 3. But when you're about 12 and 13 and you're walking around and it's hot outside, probably got 50 cents in your pocket for a soft drink and a pack of nab cookies, that was your meal for the day. And your mom told you if you came in the house, you had to stay in the house. So you were outside from 12 till the lights came on.
Right. So you basically were wearing shirts like, look, I got next. All 5 or 8 of you, I was like, I got next. And that's the end of that. All right. Hey, listen, we're going to be back here in just a few minutes with George Lynch and Tyrone Poole. We're going to talk a little bit more about basketball, football, and what's going on with the student athletes out there as well. Folks, don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on The Circus.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average and best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. This is George Lynch, 12-year NBA veteran, NCAA champion. Here supported by HBCUheroes.org.
All right. Folks, check them out at HBCUheroes.org. Lots of great causes out there. And this is a fantastic one. We're trying to really help those HCBUs. And Tyrone Poole, he's here to tell everybody a little bit more about the HBCUs. Go ahead, Tyrone.
Yeah. And I want to make sure everybody understand what HBCU means. HBCU basically means historical Black colleges and universities. So HBCUs, but it's an honor to be a proud representative of a HBCU. And today we have the great George Lynch with us, doing great things for HBCU Heroes, was a coach at Clark Atlanta. And George, we left talking about what the young George Lynch did to make himself and prepare himself for the NBA. But before you got to the NBA, you had to go to college. Now, everybody know about the great Dean Smith. Now, you were Mr. Virginia in basketball. What was it like when Dean Smith came and sat down at your house and said, "Hey, George, we want you to come to North Carolina"? Tell us about it, man. What was the story? I know you got tons of stories.
So my stepfather was a big Carolina fan, when Black and Jordan and, Sam Perkins and that team, James Worthy, was playing Georgetown in the NBA in the NCAA finals, Final Four. So it really didn't have to recruit too much. And then, going throughout high school, my high school guidance counselor, Dick Kepley, played for Coach Smith at North Carolina. And I didn't know that Carolina was looking at me, but he reached out and told Coach Smith and Bill Guthridge that he has a player here at Patrick Henry High School in Roanoke, Virginia, that they should take a look at. And then I decided after my junior year, I won the state championship. We beat the great Alonzo Mourning in the Virginia State Finals. I went up to Northern Virginia in D.C. area and played my senior year of basketball. And that's when, North Carolina started recruiting me. I wanted to go to the University of Maryland. I was a big Len Bias fan. That's why I wore number 34. Yeah. But, when his tragedy happened, it kind of changed my outlook on recruiting. And I decided to go down to Chapel Hill. But when Coach Smith made his first visit, it was in awe because we had a lot of other Division I players, Randolph Childress, Aaron Bain, a couple other guys who played high major D1 programs. When Coach Smith walked in the gym, he was like God, and practice kind of came to a halt for a minute. But I was very fortunate to have an opportunity to play there and play under a Hall of Famer like Coach Dean Smith.
Oh man,
it's funny you say that, George. Just hold on, Tyrone. Let me just interject something here. It's funny you say that. The idea when Coach Smith walked in, it's kind of like the world stopped, right? So
yes,
it's like everybody's stopped. Like, hey man, Dean Smith is here, right? It's like what? It's a really big deal, right? We had that same thing. I remember. I'll never forget this. I was in my first year of high school back in Greater Chicago, and there was one of the players, one of my friends, and he was a senior. And he was being recruited heavily in the NFL. And Joe Paterno walks right through our field house. Like, everyone's like, like, what? Joe Paterno's here? And it was the same idea. And I absolutely understand with what you're talking about. And that was an incredible experience. I'm 14 years old. I'm like, Joe Paterno just walked right by me. I don't even know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to do something. I'm going to have a Coke, a candy bar. I'm going to do something. I started running about 5 times faster than what I typically did. I was in track at that time.
And we all wish we had those smartphones back then, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Go ahead, Tyrone.
Well, hey, let me ask you this, George. Now, staying in college before we move into the NBA, you being a college coach, did you use some of the teachings that Dean Smith, that you learned up under him, to coach or recruit for your athletes to come to Clark Atlanta University?
Yes. Over the years, you reach back and you run across guys that Coach Smith recruited. It's funny. I was talking to Adam Keefe. Coach Smith recruited him highly, out of California. He ended up going to Stanford. But he told me a story one time. We was in the airport. This was after both of our NBA careers. He said, and to the day that Coach Smith started losing his memory, Coach Smith sent his parents a handwritten letter every year checking in on his parents. And I heard that through numerous of players that Coach Smith recruited, even though they didn't sign or commit to Carolina, he stayed in touch with them. And so moving forward to the day in the last 2 years with my recruitment, when, you get a bunch of emails, kids wanting to come play for you at Clark. And I try my best to answer every email and respond to everyone's coach, players, text or email. I tried to do my best. I know I didn't get back to everyone, but I tried my best to respond to every email and text message.
That's good.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Let me jump in here for a second, Tyrone. So, all right, now from 2018 to present at Clark, in 5 years, is it the NBA? Is that where you're headed?
I'm no longer at Clark, but I've had this pandemic and the COVID virus kind of slowed things down. But I have put my feelers out. I would love the opportunity to coach again. It doesn't matter what level, college or the NBA level. I'm working closely with my agent to put feelers out there to see what my next opportunity is.
George, I hear my hometown Chicago Bulls need a coach. It's been a complete disaster. They need a general manager too. Just in case you're keeping score, I thought I would throw that one by you.
Well, they just hired a general manager, so hopefully the coach will be soon. I would love to be on that coaching staff as an assistant. To be up there with my Tar Heel, Kobe White is up there trying to make his mark in the NBA, so that would be great. But yes, I have. My agent has been reaching out, but the NBA has a freeze on because they don't know. No one knows what this next year is going to look like.
I know. Yeah, I noticed Kobe White had kind of toned his hair down a little bit when he got into the Bulls. He didn't have the big wild hair. Now it's got to tone down a little bit.
Oh, he can afford a barber now.
Oh, by the way, hold on. Yeah. Tyrone, I just want to make sure we welcome in everybody listening in on Magic 97.9 FM right here in Las Vegas. And, of course, our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from Honolulu to Corpus Christi, Texas, all the way up to Boston and a whole bunch of points in between. And thanks for everybody joining us on hotel television in 100 markets, 650,000 rooms from coast to coast. Thanks for joining us back here with George Lynch, 12-year NBA small forward, national champion at North Carolina. Because it pains me to say that because I'm a Duke guy. But also, and also this guy over here, two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior, Tyrone Poole. Tyrone, go ahead.
Well, no, I think George is an excellent coach. I think George, just like George, John Lynch, who was a player and he went to the 49ers, and you see what they did. And I'm a firm believer that if you want to win, you got to win with people who have done what it is you want your organization to do. So George has played at high levels on every aspect of the game, high school, college, and pros. And I think those are the guys that make the best coaches. And he's done a great job, did a great job at Clark Atlanta. But George, I want to ask you this question. Did you know that you were on the all team, the best North Carolina basketball team of all time? You were like on the first team. I'm just going to read out some names now. I don't know if you knew this, but the second team was like Brandon Haywood. He played 97 to 01. James Worthy, 79 to 82. This is the second team now. Rashid McCants, 02 to 05. Phil Ford, 74 to 78. Now, here's the first team, okay? Now, at center, they had Sam Perkins. 80 to 84. Tyler Hansborough, 05 to 09. Michael Jordan, shooting guard, 81, 84. Kenny Smith, point guard, 83, 87. And at strong forward, weighing every bit of what'll knock you down, standing sixth over the world gold, strong forward, George Lynch, 89.
You notice he said strong forward? It's because, you know what it is? Maybe there's a couple of elbows here and there. I don't know, George.
I'm saying a forward is a forward. You got to be powerful. You get in that lane. You get in that box. But either way, small forward, the man is amongst the best to ever play at North Carolina. Did you know that, George?
That's crazy.
No, I didn't know that. That's an honor because there's a lot of great players that come through there. You know, some guys stay 1 or 2 years. Some guys stay 4 like I did. But, you know, it's an honor to be amongst those players. And for those Tar Heel fans out there who think I should be on the first team, I appreciate that.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. I'll tell you what, folks, we're going to be back with this guy over here that somehow leapfrogged James Worthy and everybody else. But guess what, George? You were the guy, and if you're on the first team, you're on the first team, buddy. All I can say is a big round of applause for that. And we're going to be back with George Lynch and Tyrone Poole in just a few moments here on the Circus. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. That's 800-659-7805. Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
You're watching the Sports Circus, and I am Brian Erlacher.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior, Tyrone Poole, working that thing today with your Ringmaster Sal. We got a great guest today, George Lynch, who is helping us cut it up to everybody on AMP TV, Hotel TV, iHeartRadio, Spotify, 97.9 in Las Vegas, CBS, NBC, Fox affiliates, coast to coast. We are having fun, and we are back for another segment, the closing segment. Since Sal was a baseball player, he loved this closing. So this is the closing segment of the Sports Circus. But man, George, again, we want to just congratulate you for being a fan favorite, man. A fan favorite of a Tar Heel. And a lot of great players came through that organization, institution, and your name is at the top, man. So all we waiting for now is a statue. We need a statue. So we're telling everybody right now, we need a statue of George Lynch out in front of the arena.
I got to make my donation ain't been big enough yet, so I got to make a bigger donation.
That's good stuff. All right, George. All right, so listen, real quick, give everybody a quick recap of the Tech for COVID Live as well as the HBCUheroes.org as well.
So Tech for COVID Live and HBCU Heroes are partnered to, during this pandemic in the social divide with technology and students being sent home without the proper whether it's Wi-Fi in their homes, computer, laptop devices. I have 3 laptops at my house, but I got 4 students now, with my son being home from college, my 2 middle schoolers, and myself trying to get on a device to either seek information or get information. So Tech for COVID and HBCU Heroes is 2 nonprofits working together to provide devices for student athletes at HBCUs throughout the country and K through 12 students in the Atlanta area for their schooling.
Right. All right. So, George, it's funny. Yourself, myself, Tyrone. Look, we went to school at a time where there weren't really laptops sitting around. We had a pen and paper. There was no such thing as a laptop. And I would almost argue that if we had a cell phone, it was the big brick, right? This massive brick. Because I think we kind of went to school right around the same time, right? Imagine all of us going to school back then with these tremendous resources. The funny thing is, nowadays, you have to have them because classes are taught in a very particular way. And that goes for all levels of school. I think grade school, high school, college. Now you've got to have those computer resources. And I think, George, what you're doing is really good for the community. And I know Tyrone does a ton for the community as well through the TP38 Foundation as well. Folks, check that out at TP38.org. Is that not correct, Tyrone?
That is it. Tyrone Poole, 38 Foundation.org. But yeah, right, that's it, so George, you got it.
George, imagine all of us going to school without a laptop. How would you have survived in today's time needing a laptop when you didn't have to have that before?
Yeah.
You don't survive. And my cell phone isn't big enough for me to read emails at this age. So I know for sure I couldn't get by days without a laptop. But, I had 6 student athletes on the men's basketball team that didn't have laptops. They were using their girlfriends' laptops. They were going to the computer labs, which take time out of your day. And these student athletes and these K through 12 students, underserved, a lot of these students, qualify for Pell Grants from government help. So they don't have the extra resources to buy a computer. So HBC Heroes is on a mission to try and serve, the 100 student athletes, the 100 HBCUs throughout the country. And that's Division I, Division II, NAIA schools, schools that don't have a affiliation with a conference. But it's about 100 HBCUs out there, and 1 in 3 students are home without laptops or devices.
You know what I like that you said is the fact that you mentioned students and not just student athletes, because let's face it, most of the student body population, and pick your favorite school, guess what? They are not student athletes. And these kids are out there, or better yet, they're adults at this point. These adults are out there without the resources, and I think what you're doing is a wonderful thing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Go ahead, Tyrone.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make a quick joke. We're talking about our time without the laptops and those big old cell phones. And for those who can't picture this, the type of cell phones we had back then, if you could think about the military, and those big old phones, they be talking around, driving in those Humvees. That's kind of like what the cell phone started out with when we were coming through. A big old phone, man. I'm like, it's coming up the whole side of your face. And I'm like, come on, man. Now you got the little small one, everything. You can hide it in your pocket, but well, you couldn't hide that phone, cell phone back in the day. That thing was humongous.
Remember, they used to have the ones when they first came out. George, look, you guys probably remember this like I do. They had the ones you actually had to carry like a suitcase with you. And then you'd pick the phone receiver up from the suitcase. So you'd kind of have to carry the suitcase, too.
That's that Humvee. That's that military phone.
Remember those? That was ridiculous. And then they got smaller when we got the brick. And the brick was probably about that wide. Everybody at home watching on TV could see this. But the brick was so big, it was like almost double the size of this enormous head. So I'd actually have to hold it out like here, because my head's so big, and I couldn't even fit through a doorway holding the phone to my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They called them brick phone.
Yeah. And Joe, let me ask you this now. Talking about going to the professional ranks, what do you think the NBA is going to do with basketball this year?
I think they'll be smart to push the end of the season where they finish back 2 months, give the guys a couple of weeks to get back in the rhythm, pick it up. I mean, my two sports was always football and basketball. So that gap in between when there's nothing going on and you got to watch baseball, that hurt me so bad. But now if you can push it back and have football and basketball run together throughout the whole year, it'd be
You're killing me, man. You're killing me. Come on, man.
Yeah. See, Sal's a baseball guy. He just understand, man, baseball. Like I would rather watch hockey than to watch a baseball game. But it depends on who's pitching. That determines how fast the flow of the game. I do know that much. But I'm like, it just takes too much time, man. It's like watching paint dry. I'm like, when you throw the ball already.
I watch baseball during the playoffs. I can't watch it during the regular season.
Yep, exactly. Same here. And that's how I be looking at the baseball game, Sal. Just right there, that look you got. I'm like, oh, man. But I want to ask you this, George. Now, basketball. Okay, you were a first-round draft pick, all right, 12th overall. I was a first-round draft pick, 22nd overall. Now, the first-round tag, I believe, means a little bit different in professional football than it does basketball. This is what I mean, and you correct me if I'm wrong. I want to hear your side of it. First rounder, as far as contract-wise, first round pretty much means that you're going to at least be with the team. You're going to be there about 3 or 4 years unless you're just stinking it up. Now, in the NBA, with the roster being smaller, does that first round tag mean you have longevity there, or does it mean, hey, we just pick you first, but you still got to try to make it the first year?
When I came out, first rounders could sign a 5-6 year contract. Now it's 3 years, and they have the option to pick up just like football. So, but if being the first round, that you do get a little bit more leniency, a little bit more time to develop as a player. If you go earlier in the round, that means you're going to a bad team and you got to be ready to play. I was the 12th pick. The Lakers were rebuilding. So it was I was in the middle of the pack. So they were probably, a playoff team that year before. But so I got there right around when they were rebuilding. So I was able to stick around. I signed a 5-year deal. And I got traded in the Shaquille O'Neal deal to make room for Shaq to come to L.A. and had the opportunity to go to Vancouver and then played in Philadelphia as a free agent.
Yeah. Now you had an opportunity to play with.
You played with Big Country back then, didn't you?
Yes. Big Country was great. It was his second or third year in the league. He was, a big body at that time. For someone with his skill set, he could pass. He had a nice shot. He was doing some things that a lot of big men in the league weren't doing. I think, Vlade Divac, Sabonis was there at the end of his career. But Big Country and Vlade was two centers that could pass the ball.
Yeah, so you had equal time with some of these. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hold on, Tyrone, real quick. Just a quick question. So you had a lot of equal time with these different clubs you were with. Who do you have the allegiance to?
I would have to say Philadelphia. My years in Philly were great. We made it to the NBA Finals. We were a banged-up team, but we were a playoff team every year that I was there, and we made that progress. We grew as a team every year, getting through, the Pacers and getting by the Knicks and then the Toronto Raptors at that time, playing with Allen Iverson. He was a great teammate. A lot of people like to knock him, because he didn't like to go to practice, but he was a franchise player that was going to try to play all 82 games. He wasn't going to take days off like these guys today.
Don't you think, real quick, and then I will throw it to Tyrone, don't you think they should rename the club in Toronto the Torontosauruses instead of the Raptors? I think the Torontosauruses sounds a little bit better.
The Toronto what?
The Torontosauruses. Like a dinosaur,
you broke
right? Up. Call them the Torontosauruses. I love that name.
That name right there don't even fly. You can't even hear it. Raptors is very quick.
You have to show me the new logo before I buy into that one.
You will. You like it. All right, go ahead, Tyrone.
That's good. Well, hey, no, I was going to ask George about. He mentioned Philadelphia, but I believe that Allen Iverson. I think he would have been the next NBA logo boy, so to speak, when they were searching after Mike had went down. But again, you guys make it to the finals. But real quick, what was it like to play with Magic Johnson or play in the area of Magic Johnson? You talked about Michael. What were some things about Magic?
Magic, there's a few players that has that, that motor. I think my era from the 90s, early 90s to 2001. You had Michael, you had Allen Iverson, you had Magic, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley. A lot of us were pros, but those guys had that Hall of Fame level that very few could get to. And Magic he had that charisma. He was a champion. He had that winning spirit and that winning attitude. It was great.
All right, George, thanks for joining us today. George Lynch, 12-year veteran in the NBA and NCAA champion. Tyrone Poole, 2-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior. We'll see you next time here on The Circus. So long, everyone.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now.